So I went to Disney World with my family recently, and I have some major regrets about the time we spent there. I'm so glad you're here watching this because it means you won't make the same mistakes I did. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. All right, here we go. Don't ever believe anyone when they say they're an expert on Disney World and never make mistakes or have regrets. They're lying to you. I go to Disney World all the time. Being an expert on Disney World is literally my job. But every single time I go, I make mistakes and I run into issues that I want to be sure you don't have to worry about when you're there. So I'm going to put it all out here today in the hopes that you can learn from my mistakes. We're going to start with something super basic, but actually kind of controversial. We're going to talk about buying lightning lanes. Are lightning lanes expensive if you buy them with an individual lightning lane selection? Yes. Is wasting time in Disney World also expensive? Yes. So scoring a lightning lane in Disney World is your ticket to waiting in a shorter line for a popular ride. And there are specific ways to get them. You can buy Disney Genie Plus for $15 per day, which gives you access to book lightning lanes for over 40 rides. But if you have your eye on a particularly popular ride like Rise of the Resistance in Hollywood Studios or Guardians of the Galaxy in Epcot, it may be in the upper echelons of the Genie Plus system called individual lightning lane selections. Those are booked separately, not as part of the $15 you'd spend on Genie Plus. Now, buying those super popular lightning lanes instead of battling long lines or fiddling with virtual queues that sell out seconds after they open up can take a lot of the guesswork and hassle out of your day. And here's where spending money can save you money and stress and drama and all the things you don't want to be feeling on a Disney World vacation. So I'll give you a real life example here. My son really wanted to ride Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind in Epcot. It's the newest ride in Disney World, very, very popular. We had one single day in Epcot to make this happen. So my options were to either book a spot in the virtual queue, which is currently the only way to ride Guardians for free in air quotes here, because of course you still do have to have a park ticket, or you can buy an individual lightning lane at 7 a.m. For us to ride at that day, it was $17 per person, so $34 for two of us to guarantee a ride on Guardians of the Galaxy at a certain time of day. Now, the virtual queue, which is the free daily dance, means you need to wake up at 6:45 a.m., prime the pump on My Disney Experience, make sure the Wi-Fi is solid, make sure we're connected to one another in the app, whatever. Then when 6:59 rolls around, you start refreshing the virtual queue page again and again and again. And when 7 o'clock hits, you refresh one more time and you see that the virtual queue is already sold out. Am I exaggerating? A little bit, yes. After all, thousands of people do get into the virtual queue each morning, so not everyone will have my personal tech drama. But I have been shut out of virtual queues several times. And this is where you get to decide how much potential stress and insecurity you want to deal with in your Disney day. Whether you're angling for a virtual queue slot or trying to beat the crowds in a regular line on a super popular ride, if time really is money for you in Disney World and you have things to do, this could be especially relevant if you have a short trip to Disney World and are trying to accomplish a lot during that time. Then locking in your guaranteed ride and knowing exactly what time you're going to ride can make a big difference in your ability to move on and get other things done that day, including using those early morning hours to hop in line for another popular ride, killing two birds with one purchased lightning lane stone. And here's a tip. You can try for the virtual queue at 7 a.m., and if it doesn't work out, you can just book an individual lightning lane for Guardians of the Galaxy right then. How's that for compromise? But I would highly recommend budgeting for the individual lightning lane when there are one or two rides you really want to make sure you get to do, so there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and you save yourself the stress of the unknown. There's plenty of that in Disney World. You don't need to add more. Okay, the next regret you want to watch out for when it comes to Disney World trips is not going solo when you have the chance. So I regularly hear from people who want to go to Disney World, but their family members or friends can't join them, so they cancel their trip. And that was me way back when. I never wanted to head to the world on my own, despite having spent plenty of trips abroad exploring foreign countries completely solo. How does that make sense? Now, I guess I thought that going to Disney World alone sent some sort of message to society that I couldn't get anyone to go with me. How could it possibly be fun to ride rides and eat snacks and watch shows all by myself? Well, spoiler alert, going to Disney World alone is actually sometimes even better than going with your friends and family. It may feel weird at first. You're used to having someone to turn to decide which ride to go on next, where to eat for lunch, or debate whether you should leave the park to go read a book by the pool. But if you go alone, you get to decide which ride to go on next, where to eat for lunch, and whether you should just luxuriate by the pool for an entire afternoon. Yeah, man, you're the king of the whole bloomin' kingdom in this scenario. It's your call on where to stay, which room view to choose, if you want to skip the parade and ride Pirates 5 times in a row, or if you really just feel like eating popcorn for dinner, thank you very much. That is your call. So don't get tricked by the whole what society will think of me thing. Has that ever worked out for you? Of course it hasn't. That mindset creates all kinds of stress and keeping up with the Joneses, and you have to buy the right bag and have the right job and make the right pose in your TikTok or whatever. Forget all that. Just go have some fun. None of those people matter, I promise. And you can trust me. I'm very old and I've gone to Disney World many, many times all on my own, and never once have all those people's opinions mattered at all to my having fun there. Okay, here's another regret from my recent trip. It is not doing laundry in Disney World. All right, this one sounds counterintuitive to the whole time is money argument from before, but I promise I have a point. And actually, I have 2 points for you on this one. So doing laundry in Disney World accomplishes 2 goals that I think you'll agree are pretty important. One, if you know you're going to do laundry in Disney World, then you know you don't need to overpack. This is especially helpful if your trip is a week or longer. I know, lucky, right? I don't know about you, but when I go to Disney World and the days are long and the days are very hot and they get sweaty, I usually pack 2 to 3 extra changes of clothes beyond what I actually need, not for just one day, but for the whole trip. Because say you ride a water ride or you get drenched in a rainstorm and all you want to do is get into dry clothes, or you've been sweating your way through Hollywood Studios and you just really need a new pair of underwear. Let's be honest. Well, it's good to be prepared for those things because they will happen. And it's very, very easy to overpack so you're prepared for every possible situation that could occur. Because nobody wants to have to drop everything to go on an emergency shopping trip when you're in the middle of your Disney World vacation. But packing everything and then some means you're managing a lot of luggage in your car, or getting to the airport, paying for a lot of luggage if you're flying, hauling a lot of luggage down the long hallways of your hotel, or hey, maybe even carrying that luggage up to your room if you're staying at Caribbean Beach Resort, which doesn't have elevators. I know, right? And committing to doing a load of laundry in Disney World means that you can go a little easier on that be prepared scenario. And instead, just make sure you're prepared for, half the scenarios. Now, the second I promise you 2 goals, right? So the second accomplishment with doing laundry in Disney World is that it forces you to slow down for a few hours and just relax on your vacation. See, the guest laundry at most of the Disney World hotels is by the pool. Some have indoor laundry as well if that suits you, but they pretty much all have laundry by the pool. And that means you can guarantee yourself and your family an afternoon decompressing, relaxing, and refreshing your tired bodies and stressed minds. Plus, you're still doing something valuable and getting all that stuff clean and ready to get back in action. So you really are being productive at the same time as you're relaxing. Win-win. Yes, you still have to actually put the laundry into the machines and take it out again, but hey, small price to pay. Now, speaking of paying, doing laundry in Disney World is so much cooler than it used to be. Now they have that laundry app thing that lets you put your stuff in a machine and you get notified via an app when it's done, and you can pay with a credit card, so cha-ching on those Disney Visa reward points, right? You're welcome. Okay, now this next one is just me being a dummy. I'm not gonna lie. It's absolutely me being a dum-dum to not realize this, but I want to make sure that you don't fall into this trap too. And it's not realizing that Genie Plus knows that you're park hopping. So if you buy Disney Genie Plus, like we talked about before, for $15 a day per person, not individual Lightning Lane, just the regular Genie Plus that gives you access to 40 rides, you can book Lightning Lanes one at a time throughout the day. Now, on my recent visit, I was in Epcot in the morning, but was planning to park hop to Hollywood Studios at 2 p.m. and wanted to book a rock and roller coaster Lightning Lane after I arrived at the studios. You may not know this, but you can't just choose any old time that you want to ride. You have to choose the next available ride time when you book a Lightning Lane through the regular Disney Genie Plus system. And since I knew I couldn't ride rock and roller coaster until I could park hop to studios at 2 p.m., I just spent a ton of time refreshing my app to wait until the quote next available ride was after 2 p.m. when I knew I'd be able to ride. It was a huge hassle. I wasted a ton of time and battery on my phone, and it was super annoying. Alas, when I was later complaining to my friend Quincy from All Ears about this, she just said, Genie Plus knows that you're park hopping. It'll just put you in the next available slot that it knows you can ride. And my mind was blown. So yeah, while Genie Plus has a whole lot of other annoying traits that waste time and money, at least it knows you're park hopping and keeps you from having to refresh your phone nonstop to wait till ride availability gets to a time frame when you can ride. However, it does not automatically know if you have a dining reservation or a toddler nap time or something else that's going to force you to be very precise about when you book rides. So be prepared to do at least a little refreshing and watching during your trip to solve the giant scheduling puzzle that is Genie Plus. Okay, this next regret, I imagine I've talked about it on the channel before because it is my Achilles heel and my toxic traits. And I'm sure by now you've started to realize I'm a little high maintenance when it comes to my Disney trips. I'm a planner. I've always been a planner. And when I want to do stuff in Disney World, I'm pretty dedicated to figuring out a way to do it. But that mindset does not jive with the concept of vacation, my friends. And if you're visibly stressed out about making sure you ride Big Thunder Mountain exactly as the fireworks are going off, or being in only the prime viewing location for Harmonious and Epcot, or making sure your family is chop chop on the bus at 6:30 a.m. sharp for that 8 a.m. park opening, things can go sour pretty quickly, believe me. Now, one of my consistent and long-running regrets every time I go to Disney World with my family is that I get stressed out and snappy. And how is that fun or relaxing? Correct, it is not. And it's super easy to be so focused on what box you have to check off of the itinerary next that nobody's having fun anymore. So that's why we always give the tips to plan ahead, but don't overplan. Leave an open day in your trip to be the catch-all for things you didn't get to do or to just relax. Maybe do some laundry, I don't know. And enjoy an actual vacation day. Have 1 or 2 must-do priority items per day and let the rest be exploratory and fun and surprising, even if that means that you end up riding Disney buses all day with your transportation-obsessed toddler, or riding the monorail all day with your transportation-obsessed 5-year-old, or you ride the Skyliner all day, keeping track of exactly which gondola numbers you've ridden in with your transportation-obsessed 7-year-old. Yes, this is a trend I'm not sure we're going to grow out of. Know that the memories you take away from Disney World are just as valid and lovely, whether they include seeing your kid meet Mickey for the first time or noting that you've ridden gondola 333 6 times so far, because we have. Okay, this next one is fresh and current, y'all. You know how Disney World has basically shut down annual pass sales? Well, for those who don't know, annual passes are tickets that will get you into the 4 Disney World parks for an entire year at the cost of one blanket price. But that's right, even if you wanted to buy annual passes right now, you could not, unless you were a Florida resident and wanted to be blocked out of lots of park days, because the only available pass right now is the lowest tier pass. And annual passes have only been available for about 2 months, from September to November 2021, in the last 2 years since the parks were closed down for COVID. Luckily, if you had an annual pass before, you are allowed to renew your pass, but if you didn't, then the option to be an annual pass holder simply isn't open to you right now. So the next time annual passes become available for any amount of time, you should grab one up if you're interested, because you never know when they're going to be out of commission yet again. And I know a lot of us have regrets about not grabbing those annual passes when we could. So quick tip, you know that we're watching this like hawks. If you are interested in knowing exactly when annual passes come back on for sale, if and when they do, go ahead and sign up for our newsletter. The link to sign up is right in the description and it's totally free. I will talk to you a lot through that newsletter, but I will also tell you when annual passes come back for sale, if they do. All right, my next regret is something I'm sure that we maybe all sort of encounter in different contexts in our lives. And this video is getting uncomfortably autobiographical, but here we go. When I was in Disney World recently with my son, yes, the one who likes to count how many times we ride certain gondolas on the Skyliner, it became all too apparent that we had a very bad habit. We were sitting in Beaches and Cream in Disney World's Beach Club Resort, eating a quick dinner before running back over to Epcot to watch the Harmonious nighttime show. And as I looked up at him sitting across the table, it dawned on me. There we were at a Disney World restaurant on vacation, and I was responding to work messages and editing photos while he was watching videos on his iPad. We were clearly addicted to our devices. Now, I know this hits home for a lot of us, and it's not always a problem. On this particular evening, we were tired. We'd been going all day long, sunburned, hungry, just needing a break. He'd been stuck with his high-maintenance bonkers mother all day. Totally valid. But the truth was, I saw it happening a lot on our trip. So next time, I'm going to be a little more prepared. I know he loves to play cards, so I'll keep a pack of cards in my park bag for when we're waiting at restaurants. And my mom and I used to have plenty of important conversations over card games in restaurants. And I'll make sure to have a list of questions and topics from the day to engage him in conversation during our downtime. I'll also challenge him to come up with 3 questions we ask each other at the end of every vacation day. Doesn't matter what they are, just matters that we're talking and disengaging a little bit from our screens. People think parents are always prepared. that they know it all, they do everything right. But the truth is we are flying by the seat of our pants most of the time, and we're just as tired and hungry and in need of a veg out sesh as anyone else at the end of the day. But I do want to be more present for my kid, and this is a good regret for me to realize and take steps to avoid a little bit more in the future. If you guys have tips, if you're parents, or if you have been places with kids where you've solved this problem, please let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear your suggestions on this one. And on all of them, but especially on this one. Okay, for my next regret, we talk a lot about water and moleskin and ponchos and umbrellas and sunscreen here on DFB, and it's always super important. And the truth is that every single time I go to Disney World, I still forget something from our all-important list. Doesn't matter how many times I say it in these videos. I will forget to put on sunscreen and get super sunburned. I will forget to bring moleskin and literally be walking around like a zombie because I have a huge blister. And on this recent trip, it was ponchos and umbrellas. So let me set the scene. We were waiting at the Transportation and Ticket Center for the Epcot monorail, and I hadn't brought ponchos or umbrellas because it was 7 p.m. Surely the rain for the day was over by then. Now, the sky is dark on the horizon, there's thunder in the distance, and I think to myself, oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. The storm is probably miles away or going to hit another park other than Epcot, and even if it does hit Epcot, it'll only be a flash in the pan, a 10-minute downpour, and then we'll be fine, right? That's how rain works in the summer in Orlando. So we got on the monorail and arrived in the Epcot monorail station just as the sky opened up and wave upon wave of sideways rain started to come down. So 10 minutes passed, 15. We had a dining reservation in Germany that we were going to be very, very late for. Finally, I checked the AccuWeather app and saw a 5-minute break in the downpour. It was still going to be raining, but not like a tropical storm. And we made a break for it. We ran through sheeting rain to scan into the park, then ran through more sheeting rain to get to the shops under Spaceship Earth to, buy our ponchos. The same ponchos I literally had in my suitcase back in the room. Oh, and by the way, the storm did not let up. It rained consistently for 2 straight hours in Epcot. So there was no flash in the pan for anybody. So let that be a lesson for all of us, including me. Even if everyone says the rain only happens at 3 p.m. and it only lasts a few minutes and will pass easily, check your weather app before you go anywhere. Even if I can't get my act together, maybe you can. So there are my regrets from my recent trip, and plus that one about not going when you're solo, because that one wasn't from my recent trip because I wasn't solo. I had my kid with me. Usually I am solo. Anyway, hope these help y'all. And as always, I really want to hear from you in the comments about your regrets when you went to Disney World. I'm sure we've all got them. We're just letting everything hang out here. So let us know what you regret and what you would have done differently, because that's going to be super helpful for me and for everybody else that's watching this video. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thanks for walking through my last trip to Disney World with me and letting me, I guess, experience this catharsis of letting you know how I screwed up. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.